Good afternoon. I'm Adrienne Gilliard here with Sandra Bazan. We're bringing you today's Behavior Bites tidbit. And our tidbit topic today is the Nature and Science Center. If you remember last week, we were talking about how the different centers can be made so engaging that it eliminates or at least alleviates some of the challenging behaviors that we see in our classroom. And we did dramatic play. Last time, and that is a phenomenal center. So, but this time we're going to talk about our nature and science centers. And what's so important about our nature and science centers is that it allows the children to explore, for them to experiment. They can question, discover, and understand natural and human-made objects and forces. And, the nature and science area, it allows them to experiment, have activities, and stimulate their curiosity because they're already curious, but it just helps to build on their curiosity. And it also encourages the use of all five senses and helps them to build vocabulary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Science Center, Nature Science Center is probably another one of those top coveted centers, right? And so there's so much that you can do in a science center, but I like that you mentioned the sensory stuff, right?
Mhm.
So this is the area where we are going to intentionally add sensory items where children can, because they're born explorers. The minute they're born, they are exploring their world. They are little scientists, right? So now let's give them that opportunity to really manipulate the world around them. And so you add different things for every single one of your senses. So the five senses, plus you can also add your proprioceptive. You can add things that you can, like this can be an all-encompassing kind of another area where their sensory input can help them regulate. You know what I mean? So just wanted to touch on that, but go ahead with the whole science center. So where should it be located, Adrienne? Like, what do you think? Because
Well,
it can get exciting. It can get very
it
exciting.
can get really exciting. And I would think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I would think that the science center should probably go, since it's another coveted center, it should probably go someplace where where the blocks are. Because it's going to get kind of loud as they are experimenting and finding all these different things. But even before we get into that, I know that it's one thing that we may not want to talk about that much. But another part that we have to consider when we talk about our science center is class. And honestly, science, the Nature and Science Center, it is the natural entry point for those core components of that high quality instructional support.
You want to talk about inquiry?
Yep, you get your concept development, your quality feedback, and your language modeling, and all of that. But so it's really, really a rich area when it comes to
all-in-one if you think about it. Adrienne, I know you've got a couple of pictures that you wanted to share.
I absolutely do.
And let's just talk about that, because I think that once they see everything that goes into this center, I mean, you're hitting all the domains. We're hitting fine motor skills. We're hitting, cognitive skills, we're hitting social, emotional skills. We're, we just so many. I'm sorry. Yes, huh? How do I do that? I forgot how to. Here we go. Hold on a second. Make co-host. There you go. And yes, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So yeah. So I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with the Science Center. Now, I will tell you, I am not a fan of creepy crawlers, right? And so when I started when I was first in the classroom and you said Science Center, I was automatically up. No, absolutely not. I cannot have bugs in my room. I cannot, right? But look at this picture. This right here is the epitome of, I mean, I want to go and explore. They have live plant there. I mean, talk about this, Adrienne. Look, look, that picture right there on the table, all the senses.
Yes.
Use all your senses to explore.
So here's the picture, Sandy, of the Science Center. There's so many different ways you can set up your Science Center, so many different things that you can put in your Science Center. And I love this picture with all of the different sensory items. Every element that's in this center is just, spot on. But if we want to go a little bit deeper and give it more than a cursory glance,
Oh, look at that.
one thing that you do with your science center is you label everything with photos or clip art labels. So we're still making our classrooms print rich. They're still able to see that things are sorted into different places. It makes for easy cleanup. They can also see that there is, the words that go along with the pictures here.
I mean, it's inviting. It shows them where things go. That's beautiful. Like, I would love to go into that center. And I mean, look, you have something as simple as rocks, all kinds of different rocks that your children can go outside. Let's go on a rock hunt. And we're going to go around the playground or wherever it is that you guys are, and you create your own actual science materials with your students. I mean, look at those the seashells. We live by the sea. We live in Florida. You can have your students bring in their favorite seashell and put it all into a community bucket. How cool is that?
Absolutely. Right. And then the science tools that we have, the magnifying glasses, goggles, all of these things, like Sandy was just talking about the rocks and the seashells, they can take the magnifying glasses and they can, do a deep, look at what the features of the rocks are, the colors,
right.
everything.
And look, and they're using every single one of their senses, right? They're looking, eyes, the vision, they're touching, text. That's so amazing that they are able to really just use their whole body. And when students are using their whole bodies, I'm going to tell you now, there's very limited maladaptive behaviors going on. They just are, their bodies are busy.
They're consumed, right? They're consumed with something else, right? Absolutely. All right. More with science tools, sorting tray and tweezers. We know that sorting is a math skill. So here we are with that other developmental domain coming into play.
You got the fine motor skills with the tweezers. You're strengthening. Absolutely. So there's that other domain. I mean, science is just probably one of the most like all-encompassing kind of, and it's just so cool to see. Look at that.
Yes.
I mean, they can start experimenting with weight. That's what is that? A scale? What's heavier? What's lighter? What's longer? Lighter. What's shorter? I mean, so much. You know what I love about this? If you look
cause
at
and effect. What happens if you put a heavier rock in this side?
Oh my gosh, those open-ended questions.
Yes.
I wonder what would happen if, right?
I put a heavier rock on this side than I put on that side. I wonder if.
I think it's probably one of those centers where if you let them kind of, and it's really child-led, you can definitely see what students are interested in and then capitalize on that. Okay, so in the beginning, I was talking about I can't do bugs. Couldn't do bugs. Mm-hmm. In real life, in class, just can't do it, right? But I found that they have these little cubes with real bugs petrified inside that the children come in and again, I couldn't go anywhere near them. The children knew, you're cleaning, like you have to clean that up. I can't do it. They would get a kick out of it because, Miss Sandy Ms. Bazan I could not. But they fascinated. And then they can take that and go outside and search for worms or so, like, I mean, there's just, and now you're connecting real life with experiences, right? Mm-hmm. With classroom. I mean, what better way to engage students? Look at this.
Yes, you can use your pipettes, your test tubes and pie plates as a way for them to look at cause and effect and come up with their hypotheses about things. Also, your natural materials such as like the wood chips, the pebbles, seashells, like Sandy talked about earlier. They can examine, explore, and question things here. Leaves, and one thing that's important too, even for your toddlers. I know a lot of times when we go on the playgrounds and they pick out little twigs and they pick up little things and we say, drop it and leave it.
No.
You know what? It's a great opportunity for you to tell them, listen, if there's one thing that you find interesting on the playground, pick it up and bring it inside. And we'll put it in our natural science area. And this is their contribution to that center.
You want to talk about buy-in?
Absolutely. That's definitely buy-in.
That is buy-in.
And
Oh,
let's not forget about the living things. We may not always be able to have pets in our classroom, but there's nothing that says that you can't throw a live plant into your science center.
right. You could also get really creative though, right? So you may
Right.
not be allowed to have a live animal, but that doesn't mean that we can't use our imaginations and have a pet rock. And that pet rock
Great
has
idea.
a name, and that pet rock needs to be, taken care of. Did we play with our pet rock? Did we talk to our pet rock? So these are the social skills that we can also embed, even if we're not allowed to have a guinea pig, which or a frog or whatever it is. I had a couple of pet rocks
Okay.
that I made a lot of students in charge of. Each one had their own, and that they had a checklist to go down. It shows how to take care of something, how to have empathy, how to take yourself out of the center and take care of something else. Watering of the plants.
Absolutely. Yes.
What a great job, job centers, like job that you have.
For your jobs. Right. And you know what? The other thing that we don't want to forget about is building materials, STEM. You can include building materials in your science center to show them that they can build different things, and it inspires and challenges.
Right. It's the S, science, S in STEM. So,
right.
Oh, perfect.
Don't forget about your writing and drawing opportunities and materials that you include in science. This teacher did a seed to plant journal. What they did was they planted a seed, and every day they wrote down the changes that were taking place with their plant.
That's incredible. And look, if you have animals, let's just say you're doing a lesson on, I don't know, this one has like Arctic animals, or you could do farm animals. You can switch out the theme of your science center in the same way that you do your dramatic play area, right? So it's always about being fresh, and it's always about changing it out. It's always going to be about, peak interest. How do we pull these kids in? And so that's what I'm saying. Like if you said, if you listen to your children in the playground and you see somebody digging for creepy crawlers, you might want to bring in a book on creepy crawlers. You might want to bring in plastic little creepy crawlers that they can pretend, so much that you can do.
So much that you can do. Absolutely. Also, magnets. We'll close it out with magnets. Magnets allow the children to question, investigate, and analyze. In my one of my classrooms, I think it was my 3 or 4-year-old classroom, I gave an assignment. They just, take a magnet home and just write down everything. You and your parents just write down everything that the magnet adheres to, that it sticks to. And my children got into it. And one child in particular, we ended up making this like a month-long thematic unit because they were really, really into it. But this particular child, he never really got engaged in any of the activities that we did, but this one he was engaged in. And he was also engaged in this one because his parent was engaged. His parent was unable to read or write, but the parent came in and told me, this is the first activity that I've been able to really do with my child. And it was a bonding experience with them. So it was great. And so these are just some of the things that you can include in your science area. I'm going to stop. Your nature and science area. And And don't forget, I want to make that one last point. Include senses, include things that they can explore using their entire bodies, things that they can maybe want to smell or taste or touch, something that you can listen to, a big conch shell, if you have seashells that they can put their ear up to and listen, just think of whole body exploration and experience when you're thinking about your science and nature centers. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sandy. And thank you all for all that you do for our children in the community. And we will see you back here next time with another center. So have a good day.
Have a great one. Bye-bye.